So I'm Cynthia Snavely, as well as being the administrator for UUSJ and the minister at Goodloe. I'm also a PFLAG facilitator for a new group, and I am also a member of the Prince George's County LGBTQ Youth Task Force. If I get all those letters in there. So I can't start this with just what do we do next without saying 3 cheers for Maryland. How many of you actually worked on Maryland? I know some of those UU Legislative Ministry of Maryland did. That's what I thought. Thank you. So here's Elizabeth Fogarty. If you are from Virginia and you are working on this issue, you need to connect with her. Virginia is not likely to legalize gay and lesbian marriage. It is officially illegal in Virginia at the moment. But Equality Virginia is actually building a database of Virginia couples whose relationship is legally recognized somewhere, whether it's Netherlands or Canada or DC or after January, Maryland. So they are building that database of couples living in Virginia who are legally married. And a number of these organizations that I mentioned are building this kind of database or stories. And if you submit your story or your name, I expect that they will be calling you to do some lobbying. So as well, if you are in a couple, you may want to submit yourselves, but if you know couples in Virginia, you may encourage them to also register for that. Elizabeth has told me that there is work afoot to organize a Northern Virginia affiliate of People of Faith for Equality in Virginia. And that group has several proposed events, including a legislative prayer breakfast, lobby day. One of the big things in Virginia is getting some gay or lesbian couples on Valentine's Day to walk into the courthouse and ask for a marriage license, and then of course be refused, but to make a big press event out of it. Reverend Karen Rasmussen and her partner Barbara did that last year in Fairfax, and had, I think, over 300 people there. I believe there was also a couple in Arlington. So this coming year, there's hoping to also be this in Alexandria and Loudoun County. So if you're interested in being involved with this kind of work, again, Elizabeth, glad you came. Just keep referring those Virginia folks over to you. Now, we can clap and be so glad that you can get married in Maryland. But there are 1,138 federal marriage rights, right, which getting married in Maryland isn't going to help you get. So we need to be working for the repeal of the Defense of Marriage Act. It is going through the court process. A number of organizations have very purposely picked out couples to be the representatives within the court. But there are also some federal bills. There is the Respect for Marriage Act, which would repeal DOMA through Congress and ensure respect for state regulation of marriage. So that's the big one. So we've talked about we're in the right place to be doing lobbying on federal legislation. That is the big one, but there are also acts before Congress that take on little pieces. There is the Every Child Deserves a Family Act, which would prohibit discrimination in adoption. There is the Uniting American Families Act, which means if your partner isn't an American citizen, you would be able to sponsor them. I actually lobbied with immigration equality last year with a number of couples who had been married in the Netherlands and Canada and DC who were seeking this. We actually got Barbara Mikulski to sign on as a sponsor, so we had a little success. There is the Military Spouses Equal Treatment Act, which is to ensure that spouses and families of gay and lesbian service members receive the same support and benefits as the families of their straight comrades. So those are 4 of federal bills that I know are there that we could be involved in lobbying for. There are a number of organizations that you can connect to and with to be a part of this. Obviously, the Human Rights Campaign is a big one, and I'm going to send this out to all of you afterwards if you gave an email address which just has some of these. The Human Rights Campaign has a very good 7-minute YouTube video on repealing the Defense of Marriage Act, so if you're doing a program or something on that, that's a very good piece to have. There is also the Repeal the Defense of Marriage Act petition link on the Human Rights Campaign website, so if you want to sign on to that petition. I've already mentioned Equality Maryland and Equality Virginia, but they don't work as much on the federal legislation. Immigration equality, if you want to work on particularly the Uniting American Families Act, that's a good group to connect with. The Family Equality Council is a good group to connect with if you want to particularly work on the Every Child Deserves a Family Act. And the now combined Outserved Service Members Legal Defense Fund is a good group to connect with if you want to work particularly on the Military Spouses Equal Treatment Act.